Alright everybody, welcome back. So, today I'm going to be chiming in on a topic which has been discussed in the past by other YouTubers. I haven't really seen anyone talking about it that much as of late, so I thought I'd go ahead and give my take on it at least. And that is this gigantic cluster that is this battle rating around 9.3 to 10.3 or so, as a little bit of give and take above and below that, but specifically we're going to be talking about the premiums and their texture variants that are at this BR, which have been progressively power creeping the vehicles which are already in the game. For example, this MiG-19 right here. I am 4.5 kilometers away from him in my A10, going 400 kmh or so. And that missile is going to kill him at almost 5 kilometers distance. This plane right here gets access to 4 long-range high-G missiles. Other planes at the BR, like the SC-25s that I'm fighting, get access to 2 very maneuverable all-aspect missiles. Stuff like the A6 is faster than me and still has access to those missiles. Do you catch my drift? So, this right here is a pretty big problem. Now, from Gaijin's perspective, since they're only looking at statistics, they're looking at the performance of the A10, the SC-25, the A6, and everything else, and they're looking fairly alright, because they're not seeing this poor MiG-21S right here that's getting beamed by an AIM-9L from 3 kilometers all aspect. They're seeing me and this SC-25 engaging each other, and roughly speaking, the planes are relatively close in performance. Now, he is faster than me, I turn better than him, but either way, in most cases in RRB, they're going to perform relatively similarly, and because they're quite often on enemy teams, and because we're getting mixed quite often, Gaijin's looking at the stats, and they're saying, okay, well, it's doing fine. In the case of the A10, they did see it was doing too well, so they moved it up from 9.7 and 10.0 to 10.0 and 10.3, but the problem is, you still have these planes facing tons of flareless planes, and a lot of the older jets, which just don't even really have a chance. Like in the case of the A-10, when it runs into a MiG-17, it's going to eat that AIM-9L head-on unless it gets incredibly lucky. Now, you might be able to dodge the missiles, especially now, with the changes to drag. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But in almost all cases, you just simply have no feasible way to counter these missiles. This ASA, he can just flare my missile because I'm at a BR where this plane should be at. These planes were not designed for air-to-air combat. They weren't designed to be competitive when it comes to facing off against fighters. If you look at their sources, these missiles that I'm carrying on my A-10 or my A-6 or any of your attackers, they're classified as self-defense. These planes are not supposed to be able to go ahead and kill all the planes around them, which is what they're doing right now. It's supposed to be more of a case of, hey, it's a ground attacker, but if someone gets close to it, then they're able to go ahead and take care of it. So, what Gaijin really needs to do is go ahead and move up these planes that have these missiles to a BR where they are competitive in ground RB, but maybe not so much in air. And that's totally fine, because they don't need to be competitive in air as long as they do their intended purpose, and that'll give fighters room to breathe as well. Now, I do want to go ahead and put some things into perspective. There are currently 15 rank 6 and 7 premiums in this battle rating. Out of the 15 planes I've mentioned, 8 of them have access to high-G missiles. And if you look at the little icons next to their names and battle ratings, all but one of them are attackers. See the problem here? All these planes are down at this PR because they don't have the flight performance to keep up. And they're coping for it with the missiles. And all that does is ruin the game for these tons of planes that are normally very fun, but aren't able to compete just purely due to the difference in technology. And these planes would be competitive at higher BRs. Not all of them, of course, but in the case of the A-10 and the SC-25 and the A-6, which are the big 3 that I'm mostly referring to right now, although these other planes like the A5C US Magic at 10.0, the AV-8s with AIM-9Gs at 9.7 are still incredibly annoying, they at least can't kill you from the front with their missiles. They have to get behind you, and there are ways to deal with them. The problem is, with these planes right here, there's no feasible way unless you get incredibly lucky like this F-104A right here and the missile refuses to lock. Now, it's not just the premiums, of course, that I'm going to single out right here. Many of these planes, the A-10 and the SC-25 in particular, actually have variants in the tech tree which are better than them, either the same BR or slightly higher. The A-10, for example, is only 0.3 higher and gets access to Mavericks that work at night and twice the AIM-9Ls. The Tech Tree SC25 has the exact same loadouts, but it has twice the amount of flares at the same BR. The only difference is that these premiums are much easier to gain access to. You don't have games where the entire team is full of Tech Tree vehicles of a specific type most of the time. But you will run into games where your entire team is F5Cs or A10s or SE25s, because all it takes is whipping out your credit card, paying 60 or 70 bucks, or however much it was on sale, 30 or 35. And then you have access to a plane which can click on people like at F100 right there. It really is quite a shame how a lot of these planes have gotten power crept over the years. And I hope that this gets fixed, because this battle rating used to be one of my favorites, not gonna lie. I personally believe that every plane deserves to have a spot in the matchmaker. And if that means having longer queue times, then I'm all for it, which is part of the reason why I was fine with 12.0, even though the queue times got longer for the top tier vehicles. I would rather the game be more balanced and have longer queue times. So, unfortunately, not everyone thinks this way, but I do think this would be a step in the right direction. Me personally, I would put the SE25 at the 10.3 even in the current matchmaker. I would put the standard, like the premium A10 with only 2 missiles at 10.3 or 10.7, and I would put the Tech Tree A10 at 10.7 or 11.0. They wouldn't be that great in air, but like I said, they're not supposed to be. That's totally fine. They'll still do just fine in ground RB. And you won't have stuff like this right here where you are spinning in your SE25 and then you get to go ahead and R60M some poor sucker in the demon just because he doesn't have flares. So, now in the meantime, because I can't just magically make all these planes go away or make them go up and BR myself, I do want to talk a little bit about like how you can actually survive. So I talked about it a little bit earlier. One of the ways you can do so in a flareless plane is by using your missiles. I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but I'm going to show it off right here. An SE25 goes to R60M me. I fire an AIM-9E in the head-on and hit his R60M with the AIM-9. Now, you don't have to hit it directly as long as you fire it. The enemy missile should just go for the rocket motor on your missile. Either way. Besides that, you just kind of want to try and be very aware, know where they are. It's gotten a bit easier this patch because the maps are much bigger now at these BRs, so you don't have to worry about, especially the A10s are very slow, so you can mop up the fighters and then be able to deal with the A10s later on. But you have to be very aware, because if you miss an A10 or an SE25 and they get within a certain range of you and you can't get around in time to fire your missile, you will die. Now, there were some drag changes. I believe I mentioned these earlier. Missiles have a lot more drag now whenever they're turning. So you can see this SE25 right here is only 2.5 kilometers away and it's going to fire an R60M. What I'm going to do is turn one direction to make the missile lead me, and then turn back the other direction. That's going to bleed the missile with a ton of speed and it's not going to be able to catch me. This works in every missile, so you want to make sure that you go ahead and exploit it as much as possible. So, hope y'all enjoyed the video. It's been a while since I did a rant. I think my F14 one was the last one. Hope y'all don't mind, but I'm going to try and not make a huge habit of it. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and hope you let me know what you think in the comments down below. So see y'all next time. Peace.